Most people didn't suddenly start spending recklessly, and they didn't get poorer overnight. What actually changed is how costs show up and how hard they are to see. Welcome to the Weekly Lens, where we step back from the headlines and look at what's really happening underneath them. This week we're talking about hidden costs that quietly became part of everyday life, and why they're making everything feel more expensive in 26, even when inflation numbers say things are improving. For decades, most expenses were occasional. You bought something once, used it, and moved on. Today, more costs are recurring by default. Software, services, protection plans, even basic features, all spread out into monthly payments. Individually, none of these feel large, but together they create a fixed cost structure that didn't exist before. One that resets every month whether your income changes or not. That shift alone changes how expensive life feels. When people hear shrinkflation, they usually think of groceries, smaller packages, same price. But shrinkflation has expanded beyond physical products. Now it shows up as fewer features at the same price, slower service unless you upgrade, tools that used to be included now locked behind higher tiers. The price tag didn't move, but the value did, and that gap is easy to miss until you need what was removed. Another quiet change is how many optional costs are no longer optional. Insurance riders, service fees, maintenance plans, security add-ons, these used to be choices, now they're often prerequisites. What makes this frustrating isn't just the cost, it's that these expenses don't feel like improvements. They feel like permission fees to keep things functioning the way they already were. This is where the data lived and experience diverge. Inflation can slow, prices can stabilize, but if costs move into categories you can't easily cut, like housing, insurance, subscriptions, healthcare, the pressure doesn't ease. Flexibility shrinks, monthly commitments grow, and the financial stress becomes more psychological than numerical. That's why so many people say, nothing dramatic changed, but everything feels tighter. This isn't about spending better. It's not about cutting coffee or skipping convenience. It's about understanding where the pressure actually comes from, so it doesn't feel mysterious or personal. That's the goal of the Weekly Lens. Not louder opinions, but clearer perspective. If this breakdown was useful, the short videos this week will dive into each of these costs individually. I'll see you there.